how much is too much? How much is too much? What I'd like to do first, before I answer this particular question, is I'd like to read an article from, I think it's from positivecoach.org. Positivecoach.org. It reads, do we overcoach our players? I have two sons, 13 and 16, who participate in a variety of sports. In baseball, for example, I notice coaches calling all the pitches. Is this a result of a more mechanical and thoughtless player? Does the game have less flow? My oldest recently participated in a track meet where coaches aren't allowed on the field and yelling from the stands is discouraged. My son explained after his event that several athletes were unable to self-correct their mechanics. I wonder how many youth athletes have ever been isolated from their coaches, and are the coaches to blame? So here was the response by a guy by the name of Joe Scally, who's a trainer. He said, the type of coaching that you describe is all too prevalent. Among the reasons is a win-at-all-cost mentality that makes some coaches want to control every aspect of the game. In the Double Gold Coach, PCA founder and executive director Jim Thompson describes the romance of leadership, a concept he first heard from Jeff Pfeffer at the Stanford Business School. The idea is that coaches tend to feel that they must be making things happen. They are aware that others may perceive the hands-on coach as doing a better job. Also, exercising authority can feel good, so coaches may do it even when it would be better to let the players take the lead. Media images of overcoaching coaches pacing the sidelines and yelling out plays model this type of behavior for youth sports. I wish I could read the screen a little bit more clearly, but man, I need those reading glasses, and I'm fighting getting them with everything that's inside of me, but it's almost time for me. I think it's almost over. I mean, I can read just fine, but I got to slow down and focus on the words. I used to laugh at my parents about it, and now I'm watching myself become them. So every sport is different, and this is what a lot of people don't realize within sports. This person that wrote the response is right, and this person that wrote the response is incorrect. And as I said in the earlier recording, it all depends on the maturity of the player, and it depends on the life cycle of the athlete. You have some, well, case in point, I have one parent who said to me, we want to go hard, want to do the best we can, want to try to make the Youth Olympics. We have no desire to make a junior world team, no desire to make a world team. We don't really want to do this at the senior level. I just want my kid to get as much as he can get from the junior level when they hit 18. If they want to continue to do it, fine. If not, I'm not going to be invested in it anymore. I think the best time for us to be able to win some championships is now. So this isn't a dojo athlete. This is a client that I have. So the coaching process that people see of that particular athlete may look different from what they think should happen with other athletes. And when you look at judo, you have to understand that every tournament, every child in that place is on a different developmental cycle. Yeah, there are certain things that happen in terms of human development for kids, but everyone is on a different developmental cycle. Everyone does things differently. You could look at a gymnastics training program and think that the coaches are abusive, or think that it's too much work, or think that it's too much volume because of the amount of work that has to be done before the age of 16, especially for the young women in the sport. It looks like it's too much pushing. It looks like it's too much hands-on. It looks like it's overcoaching, but the sport is so different, and what people want to achieve in that sport is different. So let me also address this. Let me also address this win-at-all-cost mentality. I have a problem when people use that because it sounds great to the people in what we call the general population. We call them general poppers. General poppers love to throw blanket statements around like, my kids don't cut weight, without defining what a cut is, or my kids aren't on a diet when everybody is on a diet. People say we don't win at all costs. Listen to me. Listen very carefully. Everyone wins at all costs. That is what you want to do. What you don't want to do is you don't want to win in an unethical fashion, and you don't want to teach the wrong things to children. But you do want to win at all costs. You do want to win at all ethical costs. When we say at all costs, we don't, as coaches, we're not talking about crossing the line, but we're talking about at all costs, meaning you got to sacrifice yourself in terms of how you feel. You might be tired. You have to sacrifice yourself. You may feel like you're going to die. You're not going to die. You might have to sacrifice yourself. Okay? When it comes to sport, the objective is to win. For the teams that I have coached, you may have other coaches or other teams that have different framework for how they operate. They may be one of those programs that believes in just having fun. Okay, you have places like that. I don't coach like that. I want you to have fun. Yes, I want you to have fun. Do I want you to suffer? Yes, I want you to suffer too, because you need to learn how to suffer, because sometimes having fun requires you to suffer some. I like winning. I think winning is fun. I don't like losing. I think losing sucks. People don't like losing. Losing is part of the game, it's part of the sport. If you don't want to lose, then there are some things that you have to do so that you don't lose. Now, let's get into the economics of it. Parents pay coaches for their kids to learn. Parents pay certain coaches for their kids to win. Listen very carefully. Parents pay some coaches for their kids to learn. Parents pay other coaches for their kids to win. There's certain people who make an investment for certain coaches or certain coaching models or certain groups or certain teams because they go there with the intent to win. They go there because they want to win. And in this day and age in society, and based upon the model of capitalism, you have to deliver or you're going to get fired. And you can deliver, and you can deliver in an ethical fashion. And you can deliver and create a developmental cycle, and you can deliver and you can sit down and talk about the development for the child. You can do all those things, and you can win at all costs, because going out there and losing is not where it's at. And a lot of people who speak about, I don't want to win at all costs. Listen, you're talking about the tournament that is 2.5 hours or 3 hours away, where you drive and you guys pack peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, or you go eat on the way, and then you eat when you get back home. Like, things change when you start talking about an $850 ticket, $800 in euro for your stay, and then food, and then away from home, and then people who have donated money to you in order for you to fly or go. Like, things change. That you then winning, you have to win in all. It's not about how you play the game at that level. So when we're having these conversations, sometimes the conversations get conflated because there are individuals inside of the conversation who are having a grassroots conversation, and other people who are having a professional sports conversation. Most of the time when I'm talking, I'm having a professional sports conversation. And even young children, some of the time they are professionals. I have some young kids in my dojo. When I mean young, I mean like 15, 16, 17, who have the desire to be professional athletes. They're very different than the 10, 11, 12-year-olds or my 7-year-old daughter. Very, very different. Very different. Now, when it comes to how much is too much, when you're coaching, I've talked about this before, you have to understand the differences between prompting and cueing. When you're in the dojo, you want to prompt. When you're coaching, you want to cue. Sometimes you have to prompt when you're coaching, especially if you want to get through a match, all right? Or you want to give your person the best possible outcome in the match, or you want to win the match, or if you want the referee to understand what it is that you're doing. So as we talked about in another video, so the referee can see what you see, sometimes you prompt, okay? Prompting is when you have to walk through every step of the move because the person doesn't really know the move well. Cueing is when you provide a visual cue or a verbal cue to move the person through the cycle of the flow or the process of the movement, which they already know, but they're stuck and they just need some cueing. You want to move yourself from prompting into cueing, and then after a while, just visual cues, and then hopefully you don't have to cue as much. You could just go to straight motivation. Okay, so these are the things that you want to do, and the answer of how much is too much, that's a personal preference for the coach, the parent, and the athlete to figure out. In my opinion, more is not better, but in the beginning, more is better. It's a weaning process that you go through. It is a weaning process that you go through. And the worst thing that I've seen is parents who think that they know what coaches know, and they haven't done the time in terms of being a quality coach. They haven't done the courses, they haven't done the study, and they haven't done the research. Reading a few blog posts or research articles that cater to what you want to believe is not coaching. I think at times you should sit down and talk to the coach, ask them what their particular coaching philosophy is, ask some respectful questions, and then provide some of your feedback and ask them, is my thinking correct here? Is it incorrect? Or are there some possible changes or adjustments that we can make so my child can learn a little bit better? And some coaches will tell you yes, and some will tell you no. I've had situations where I've had parents sit down with me and I've made some adjustments, and I've had situations where I told parents, if you don't like it, you can leave. Your child is going to have to get down with this and this particular style, or they're going to have to go. And it's as simple as that. And there's nothing wrong with that, because as a coach, you have the option and the ability to run your program as you see fit. So there is no real question. There is no real answer to the question of how much is too much. You have to wean over a period of time. Like if you're a 30-year-old adult, you're probably not going to drink a glass of breast milk. Why? Because you were probably weaned at 9 months, a year, or 6 months. That's not what you need. But in the beginning, when you're a baby, how much breast milk is too much? Man, you drink as you need as you're a kid. Things change through the developmental timeline. All right? Take care and have a fantastic day.